6-1 Demos trying to knock off PIL leader Benson, and a nice catch right here at the goal line by Kevin Miller. He got hit there, but that's Tech's only score of the first half. Jefferson gets off to a big lead, and they hang on at halftime. Suntory Robertson making a great catch here at the 3-yard line. He makes the catch and goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Jefferson was leading 21-6 at halftime. Second-ranked South Salem rolls at home against North Salem. First quarter, quarterback John Penhollow finds Brian Moss 33 yards, set up first and goal for the Saxons. And it does not take long from there. Not with Joe Douglas in the backfield. Douglas scores from 2 yards out, 6-0 South Salem. They missed the PAT. South changes quarterbacks later in the first quarter, and the Saxons just keep on rolling. Matt McKillop hits Jason Davis. Davis, a nice one-handed catch right there. The Saxons stay unbeaten and claim the Valley League title with a 28-6 victory. At Civic Stadium tonight, Central Catholic trying to pick up its first win against David Douglas. Nice play here as Chris Hurd scrambles and finds Steve Larson in the back of the end zone. But it's not enough as the Scots win this one. Watch the run by David Abrahamson off the fake pitch, and he takes it in from the 25-yard line. The Scots now 5-1 in the Mount Hood Conference. They win 28-13 tonight. Other prep scores from around the state. Number 6, Sunset over Beaverton 16-6. 8th-ranked Oregon City blanks Canby 21-0. Wilson keeps it going with 55 points against Marshall. Corvallis 40, Sprague 12. South Albany 34, Crescent Valley nothing. And St. Paul wins a playoff game over Triangle Lake 54-6. Homecoming, Rodney Clemente grew up in San Francisco, and quarterback John Charles played JC ball at nearby Foothill College. Sounds like Charles has received some pressure-packed requests from his friends and family.
A touchdown each person, so that'll be about 1,000 touchdowns. I don't think I can pull that off, but they just want to see us win. So as long as we win, everyone will be happy.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to play in front of my friends and stuff back home. All of them haven't seen me play since high school, so this is like a reunion back for them and me.
Portland State going for its 5th straight win tomorrow afternoon. Well, have you noticed all the spitting during the World Series this year? Every time the camera gets up close and personal, things get a little too personal. The Braves and Twins have turned the Field of Dreams into a field of streams. How would you like this to be your office? On second thought, take a closer look. Spit, 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 spit. Horrifying, isn't it? And you wondered why their feet never touched the ground. I thought spitting was reserved for this thing. But no, you can spit at first base or third base and everywhere in between. Make a great play. Go ahead, spit. Gag me with a spoon. The TV camera always manages to catch them, and sometimes they stay on these phlegm stars a little too long. You expect a little more than expectoration from these guys. Expectorate, it means spitting. You could look it up. I mean, you would think baseball would want to clean up its act. And you can't use brooms. You need more like a mop or a hose. Come on, the kids are watching. So what if he's the spitting image of someone else?
Happens every game, doesn't it?
I have to agree. It is gross.
And they show the game at 5:30 at dinner time. So
yeah, exactly.
Everybody sits down and eats dinner and watches the game, and oh God.
It's kind of funny you don't see that in football that much.
No, you can't spit on that bar.
Yeah, that's probably the reason right there, as a matter of fact.
I mentioned it to a team owner once and was told I was un-American. So
yeah.
I guess spitting is
part of the national pastime.
What can you say? Thanks, Phil.
Thanks a lot. We're going to return now to the festivities in Boise, Idaho tonight for former hostage Jesse Turner. The crowd is singing many stirring patriotic songs there. The governor of Idaho has spoken, as well as other dignitaries, with the Turner family looking on. And as expected, Jesse Turner has not. Let's listen in.
First series for Tech, and this is the way it went tonight. The snap is way over the head of the punter. Jefferson recovered and cashed in. Anthony Green bulls his way in for the score, and the Democrats were out in front 7-0 early. Then it was the great Suntory Robertson taking the pitch and high-stepping it for 65 yards. He almost lost the ball trying to neon D on it. 13-0 Jefferson, still in the first quarter. Second quarter, and it was Suntory Robertson again, this time catching a bomb from Damon McPherson, 40 yards for another score. They were good on the two-point conversions, 21-0 Jefferson there. The Democrats going to win 28-6. All right, we thought Marshall would give Wilson some trouble tonight, but no. Opening kickoff, and Wilson was out to shoot like a runaway racehorse. Ryan Erickson drops it, picks it up, and here he comes right at you. There he goes right past you for the touchdown, 84 yards, and the Trojans were up 7 before you could say, great Caesars Ghost. Marshall cut it to 7-6, but Brian McMahon carries the ball 21 yards for another Wilson score. It looked like he was running on a slip and slide, 14-6 Wilson. Then the Trojans poured it on. It was Brian McMahon again knifing through the Marshall defenders and going 35 yards for the score. That made the final 28-6, so the Trojans keep pace for first with Benson and Jefferson. All right, the Salem Civil War, North at number 2 ranked South Salem, and it's South's Joe Douglas right up the middle, 6-0 South, and the Saxons never looked back. North Salem could not stop mighty Joe Douglas. Douglas takes the quick pitch. Number 12 stood him up pretty good, but Douglas kept his legs driving, and this made it 21-0 South Salem. Then Joe Douglas right up the middle from 6 yards out to make it 28-0 South. 28-6, number 2 South Salem over North Salem, the final. Now, one of the greatest American rhythm and blues shouters of all time, Rufus Thomas, is here to help us with the rest of the Little Daddies. So Debonair Dennis Decay, a little traveling music, please.
Mary Mac, dressed in black, silver buttons all down her back. Hello, tipsy toe. She broke a needle and she can't sew. Walking the dog. Guess a walking bird dog. If you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk the dog. Come on now, come on, come on. That's my mama for 15 cents. See the elephant jump the fence. He jumped.
Division II college play. Ron Carlson reports on the Rutschman connection in McMinnville.
Coach Ad Rutschman is a legend of small college football. His Linfield teams have won 3 national titles, and in his 24 years here, the Wildcats have never had a losing season. The town of McMinnville has come to expect winning football from Rutschman coach teams. But those expectations are being tested this year because just a few blocks away, the skies are cloudier over another McMinnville team coached by another Rutschman. Ad's son, Don, is trying to pick up the football program as head coach at McMinnville High, but during his first season here, his team hasn't picked up a win.
I'll tell you something, I think that's probably tougher than me losing, you know, because you don't like to see your own kids suffer, you know, and I'd rather have those things happen to me, I think, than to our kids.
Don's taken on a huge challenge, first to improve a struggling football program in the always tough Metro League, but also to try it in the same town where his father has known so much success.
The comparisons people make, the guy's in a class by himself, you know, I can't
And they want to be something.
compare myself to, you know, some of the things that he's done, and it would be probably unfair for me to do that.
Line up where you're supposed to be.
My relationship with him, he is probably my biggest consultant. He's probably I've got a lot of friends, but he's probably my best friend.
Ron Carlson, Channel 2 Sports.
A lot of high school football coming your way in just a few minutes on Sports Extra. Week number 8 featured some big showdowns. North and South Salem, Benson and Jefferson, and Columbia River Evergreen. Highlights of those games and a lot more on Sports Extra coming up next at 11:30 right here.
One of the biggest PIL games of the year, Benson visiting Jefferson High School. The cheerleaders bundled up on a cold, soggy night out there. First half action, Jefferson's Damon McPherson goes long to Suntory Robertson, 35 yards, has to wait for it, and then stumbles into the end zone for the 35-yard touchdown, and Jefferson was off and rolling. For Benson, Jerry Bushman to Kevin Miller, who barely makes it into the end zone for the touchdown, but that would be Benson's only score of the night. to the fourth quarter for the Democrats. McPherson goes to Suntroy Robinson. Again, a great catch in the end zone. 27-6 the final for the Democrats. They currently are on top of the PIL. In Three Rivers League action, it was 8th-ranked Oregon City playing host to a very good Canby team. Oregon City in red, one of the few offensive mishaps for quarterback Jeremy Lynch, picked off by Canby's Derek Craven. For the most part, though, the Pioneers dominated. Here's Lynch on the quarterback keeper around the left end. Pulls away from the guy that had his jersey, breaks in the outside, and he's in for the end zone for the touchdown. And then watch what happens here. How'd you like to be the punter here? Tony Smith says, whoops, way over his head it goes. O-City recovers and takes it in for the touchdown. 21-zip the final. The Pioneers toss themselves a shutout. Our other Three Rivers action, West Lynn big over Clackamas. Lake Oswego by just a couple over Milwaukee.
Easier. Our park
just what you're looking for.
Two other games, Madison over Lincoln in a low-scoring one. Wilson big over Marshall. To the Metro League, 5th-ranked Glencoe pounds on Aloha tonight. 7th-ranked Sunset over Beaverton. McMinnville shut down in a big way by Jesuit. Those guys are hot. Newburgh over Forest Grove, and Tigard gets by Hillsboro. And how about this matchup in the Valley League? 2nd-ranked South Salem at home against their crosstown rivals North Salem, and they're no slouches either. First quarter action for South Salem and the Saxons. Quarterback John Penhollow. Not a pretty pass, it wobbles, but it's right on target to Brian Moss. That set up South Salem's first score, 6-0 Saxons. Next possession, Matt McKillop in at quarterback, rolls right, and look at this one-handed catch by Jason Davis. He hauls it in. That's a great one. 14-0 after the 2-point conversion. But the big star for the Saxons tonight, fullback Joe Douglas, rushed for over 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was unstoppable. South Salem rolls past North Salem 28-6, and they are undefeated on the year, 8-0. Some other scores: Gresham big over Park Rose. Barlow pounds on Centennial. David Douglas winners against Central Catholic, and Reynolds in a close one over Sandy. A couple of other scores: number 1 ranked South Medford over Crater.
But the Techmen are still down 21-6 at the half. Defense dominates the second half. Jefferson shuts down the Benson attack, sacking Bushman to end one drive, and then Jason Warren strikes big. This is one of 3 second-half interceptions for Warren, and the Democrats keep Benson's attack at bay. Still leading 21-6, the Democrats add the clincher. Damon McPherson to Joe Robertson. The ball is tipped and caught in the end zone by Sabal Wilder. Touchdown Jefferson. They tie Benson in the standings with a 27-6 win. Meantime, Wilson entered tonight's action tied with Jefferson and just 1 game behind Benson. Larry Keck's Trojans played host to a very tough Marshall squad. Trailing 7-0, Marshall showed everybody they can move the ball. The man with the heavy workload is number 34, David Dahl. A nice effort here as Marshall grinds out a long touchdown drive. They cap it off on 4th and 1. Again, David Dahl with the honors. The point after is no good. Marshall still trails 7-6. Then it's Wilson's turn. Watch the pitch to Brian McMahon, and you can forget it. 20 yards in the touchdown. The Trojans are back in command thanks to the big play. 14-6, Wilson on top. When the Trojans get the ball back, they attack the Marshall defense again. Ryan Erickson, the big man on this play, and Wilson is knocking at the doorstep again. The drive is capped off when Matt Cochran finds pay dirt on the keeper, and Wilson moves to 7-1 thanks to a 55-13 win over Marshall. Wilson now tied with Benson and Jefferson for the lead in the PIL. One other PIL final tonight, Madison beat Lincoln, the final there, 12-6. Now to our Valley League report. The grand rivalry between North and South Salem continued tonight. Jerry Murphy was on the sidelines for this one, and he joins us from our Salem Bureau with the highlights. Jerry?
Steve, we've been looking forward to this game for weeks now. Number 2 ranked South Salem needing a win tonight to clinch the Valley title and to remain unbeaten. North Salem trying to stay in the playoff picture. The Saxons were bursting with emotion for the annual Civil War, and Joe Douglas would burst through the Viking defense for well over 200 yards this night. 28 yards on the first offensive possession of the game. South was on the move. Then it's time to go up top. John Penhollow to Brian Maas, 33 yards down to the North Salem 4-yard line. It sets up a Joe Douglas touchdown for a 6-0 Saxon lead. And South drives on its next possession. From 7 yards out, it's Matt McKillop to Jason Davis for an amazing catch. South takes a 14-0 lead into halftime. In the second half, the Saxons continue with the ground game. Joe Douglas slashing for 15 yards. Moments later, he'd score to make it 21-0. North had big problems with the Saxon defense. Jason Davis on the hard rush, and he sacks the Viking quarterback for a 6-yard loss. Later in the third quarter, it looks like another toss to Douglas, but he pulls up and hits Jason Davis on the option pass for 42 yards to the Viking 34-yard line. A couple of plays later, John Penhollow finds Bill Peters in the flat, and he rumbles all the way to the 2-yard line. It sets up the Saxons' final score, and South beats North in the Civil War, 28-6. South Salem clinches the Valley title and improves to 8-0.
We just came out and played a great game, you know. We came out at the beginning and marched the field, and, you know, our defense was playing tough. Defense played tough the whole game.
All we have to go by is what's going on in this league. And right now, I think we're the best team in this league. I think we've proved that. Now it remains to be seen how we compare to the other teams in the state.
Elsewhere in the Valley tonight, McKay drops a big one to Lebanon. The Scots fall out of that second-place tie after a 13-0 loss. McNary takes over sole possession of second place with a 30-20 win over West Albany. The Celtics now 6-2. Corvallis moves into a third-place tie with McKay and North Salem after hammering Sprague 40-12. Corvallis, McKay, and North now 5-3. And South Albany keeps Crescent Valley winless with a 34-0 shutout. And so, Steve, 1 week remaining in the regular season down here in the Valley, and we've got some playoff business to settle 1 week from tonight.
Salem's just not slowing down, Jerry.
Not at all. They look very dominant, Steve. Best team in the Valley for sure.
Okay, thanks very much for the report. Other action tonight, 4th-ranked Gresham with a chance to stay on top of the Mount Hood Conference. The Gophers traveled to Park Rose tonight, and that Gresham defense sets the tone right off the bat. They have this play smelled out. Jason McLean with the tackle in the end zone. Safety Gresham. Gophers lead 2-0. They proceed to break it open real fast. Rich Nevis takes control on the ground. This run is good for 26 yards. 1st and goal from the Park Rose 8-yard line. Well, if it works once, why not try it again? Nevis will take it, and it doesn't stop until there's 6 more points on the board. 8-0, Gresham leads. Then the Gophers will put it into high gear, and Park Rose can't keep up. Curtis Loeb airs it out to John Valadez. Great play, great shot by our photographer, Tom Augusti. 15-0 Gresham. Just for extra measure, Loeb keeps it and does it on his own. You can tally up 43 yards on this play and another Gresham touchdown. The Gophers roll through week number 8 with a 44-26 win at Park Rose. Elsewhere, Barlow beats Centennial 42-20. David Douglas beats Central Catholic. The Scots play Gresham for the conference championship next week. Also tonight, Reynolds beats Sandy the final 31-27. Still much more coming your way on Channel 2 Sports Extra. We'll check in with the Metro League and, of course, the Wild Three Rivers League. Co-leaders Lake Ridge and Oregon City are both in action tonight. We'll have the highlights next on Sports Extra.